Live. This is the market update. I'm your host, Bill Noble. The next crypto upcycle has begun. Not based on traditional metrics, but based on Fibonacci metrics. Want to know more? Stay here, watch the video. If you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live, and the content works for you, hit the thumbs up. We are working hard to come up with a time frame where we can go on at the same time every day. So make sure you have alerts turned on. And again, hit the like button. Let's see who's on the stream. We've got Bull Runner here first. Welcome. GF. Joseph Ryan from California. A Dingo ate my Satoshis from Japan. Welcome. Rocket Ship is fueled. CryptoPath. Sinister Klaus. Right? Looking to get back in GLDN. Zach Blackstone. Crypto Crazy. Kenneth Phillips. Welcome. Andre Britz. Bears are getting hungry. Ahmed from Nigeria. Welcome. Mr. Moby Dick. Top Semper Fidelis. Welcome. Gabor is here from Liverpool. Our friends from England and Europe are back. Moon Sector 7. Norway. What's up? Okay. I'm going right into the news. Straight in. One of the things you can tell is that the news flow is changing. South Korean government opens Cityverse metaverse project to the public. Hey, anybody remember the metaverse? Everybody was talking FTX. I was talking to metaverse. Everybody's talking Sam Bankman-Fried. I was talking price. Everybody's talking FUD. I'm talking crypto and Satoshi. Satoshi's vision is happening. This is telling you how and why. Bitcoin surges over $500 million in short liquidations, the highest in 3 months. So when you look at this at first glance, you're going to want to blow off the rally. You'll be like, well, it's just short covering. And I remember at the bottoms of 2009 in stocks and in 2011, everybody dismisses the first rally as short covering. Now, one word on that. Yeah, of course it's short covering. Like when you have an Elliott wave structure, the first move off the low, the sort of the thing that turns the trend when you're going up is short covering. Bear markets end when shorts get hurt. You know how I say it's not a bull market until you can buy a dip and make money? Well, in a bear market ends when you sell rallies and lose money. So even though this rally was short covering, bears are going to come in and try to short it. And I don't think that's the right trade. Not right now. Right? I'm not even sure that shorting it makes any sense in terms of a mindset. You're better off trying to buy dips. So the way I'm thinking this moves is there could be one big lurch higher because everybody is doubting the rally. And then I think trading types are inclined to take profits, which is fine. You never get fired taking profits, an old Wall Street motto. Okay, but sometimes trading types who are still thinking that we're in a range, they get screwed up because we're in a trend. So the trend will go farther than you think on the upside and then turn around and maybe correct back down then. But this thing about, oh, it's just short squeeze, I don't know if that's the way to look at the rally. I say the way to look at it is the short squeeze is just the beginning. Okay. Bitcoin mining is proving to be a lifeline for Africa's national parks. Notice a change in the Bitcoin mining narrative. Yes, this is Bitcoin Magazine. Okay, but all the previous headlines about Bitcoin were negative, especially when it came to mining. All of a sudden, the media is like, wait a minute, people don't want to hear about FUD anymore. They want to hear about something good. And this is called reflexivity. Reflexivity is a George Soros concept. And I know he's not exactly popular from a political point of view. I'm not a big fan myself. But he was one of the greatest hedge fund traders ever. No doubt about that. And his concept of reflexivity is interesting. His concept is The stock market doesn't follow the economy. Normally, you would think economic growth, earnings, right? And then that translates over stock prices, right? Or anticipation of growth and earnings drive stock prices. Reflexivity, Soros, the other way around. He says the market goes up first and then the economy follows. People see the market and they go, ooh, things must be okay. I'm going to hire or I'm going to spend or whatever. And it's true. And everyone laughed at him when this came out. Now, how does that reflect into crypto? How does that pull into crypto reflexivity? Well, as Bitcoin goes up, people are going to be forced to look at the positive things about crypto. People are going to be forced to face the challenges to the dollar. Don't believe me? Iran and Russia want to issue a new stablecoin backed by gold. So what does this mean for crypto? It means the challenge to the dollar regime is here. It's not something you write about in a book. It's not theoretical. It is a documented fact that the Russians want to create a world where people pay them for oil in gold. And the Middle East wants it too. They want off the dollar because the United States weaponized the dollar by using sanctions. Right? In other words, if the United States didn't like you, they cut you off from SWIFT, which is the dollar payment system, making your life miserable. Now, I'm not a foreign policy expert, but let's just say this has probably pissed off a lot of people and probably accelerated something that they were going to do anyway, which was challenge the dollar and specifically challenge the petrodollar, which means challenge the rationale that everyone should pay for commodities in dollars. For example, if you're in the United States and you want to buy oil, you have to pay $75 a barrel for oil. If you're in Germany, Africa, South America, and you want to buy oil, you have to pay $75 per barrel. Iran and Russia, even though their regimes are not exactly friendly to the West, they're challenging the dollar. They want a stable coin backed by gold. This drives home the message of alternative currencies. Here's an idea that comes from Redphone Crypto. Spend less time picking tokens and more time picking sectors. A interesting idea, right? In other words, everyone is looking for the next 100x. And when I go through the PowerPoint soon, when I show you that there's Fibonacci work that I got from one of my most trusted friends in crypto, a guy I worked with when I first started, that the next cycle has actually started now, which means you want to start picking sectors now. Okay. The pending water crisis, the Colorado River shortage is coming next year or the year after that, but it will be here. Once these conditions come, they are more than likely to not end. They are not going to end. Okay. Washington Post just reported today, Scottsdale, Arizona cuts off River Verde Foothills water supply amid drought conditions. BARC, a water pricing token, moving water via the blockchain. It's from the Gold Retriever ecosystem. I work for Gold Retriever as the director of research. I own the BARC token. Water as a theme, water as a sector, gold as a sector. Okay, GLDN, which is a gold connected crypto that's going to be the native token of a commodities ecosystem. Or said simply, GLDN is the money that you're going to use to buy water. It's your ticket to BARC. You cannot buy BARC with ETH. You have to buy it with GLDN. Picking water as a sector. Now, you're like, okay, Bill, well, that's a lot to digest. How do you know the next cycle has started? Like, why would I start looking at everything like Cardano, Solana, QNT for sure, XRP, which I think people have like blown off. And I think that's a mistake. So let's talk about this very ingenious Fibonacci concept and how it relates to the start of the next cycle. Now, everyone's like, oh, the cycle starts with the Bitcoin halving. Well, not if you follow this. Early last week, we started something where we said, from superstition, I remember that Ethereum topped at November 10th, the 10th day of the month, and it bottomed on January 10th, which was very similar to what I remember from 2007, where the stock market topped on October 11th, 2007, and bottomed on March 9th of 2009. Now, this was as far as I could get on the trivia front, suggesting that a long-term bottom may have been in. Now, this is a complex chart, so we're going to go over it step by step. Starting from January 15th, this came from my friend Noah Hornhairs, right, who I worked with when I was at Crypto IQ. I was the analyst and he was the trader. In this construct, from January 2015 to December 2017, it was 153 weeks of an upcycle. It started very slowly. It took a long time to get going. And then the parabolic was more towards, the end in this case. And that 153 week cycle ended at 20K, followed by a 1 year winter. And then these horizontal lines are called Fib time analysis. So you can see the numbers in the Fibonacci series 1, 3, 5, 8. Now, if you turn around and look over here, okay, there was a 153 week upcycle from December 2018 to November 2021. Okay, so 153 week cycle, 1 year bear market. 153 week cycle, 1 year bear market. This Fibonacci work would hint that the next cycle has started, because you've gotten finished with a 1 year bear market, which looked almost exactly like the last one. So if this price action is telling you that something much bigger has started than this GAN structure that I drew, right? So I just drew this GAN structure and I was like, all right, well, let's see what resonates, right? So you had a false breakdown in 2018 here, where it crashed, but then it eventually came back to the blue line. This line made support at the COVID crash. This line simultaneously supported or acted as resistance. So there's some interesting things about these lines. And one thing that I noticed is that this pink line, which was support at COVID, okay, if Bitcoin gets back to that level, it gets to 29K. Interesting, don't you think? Who's talking about 29K? Nobody. Who's talking about the next cycle going all the way out to 2025 starting now? Now, that's not the next parabolic, but the next cycle. So ask yourself this question. Is 20K Bitcoin expensive or cheap? If you think about it this way, right? If you followed some of this Fibonacci math, right? It's like, okay, 2 year bull, 1 year bear, or 3 year bull, 1 year bear. Excuse me. So if 2018 to 2021 was the last bull, the next bull is Jan 2022 to December 2025. And then you turn around and look at your screen and go, did I miss it? No. Should I take whatever trading profits I have? Sure, maybe, but leave some. Maybe leave a lot. Maybe go with an incremental profit-taking strategy in the short term. Okay, let's talk about Ethereum. I was on TikTok last night, and Ethereum has got 3.2 billion searches just looking at hashtags. 3.2 billion people looking for Ethereum. Interesting, right? Ethereum has support at 1520. I have support there from my GAN analysis. This is hidden pivot work on an 89-minute chart. Now, for live streams, you want to try to have as much shelf life as possible. So if 1520 is support, that's good, but you may wind up, if 1520 is support, you may wind up with a move to this top hidden pivot line at 1637. And on GANN charts, which is on my Twitter, I have as high as 1800. So if Bitcoin and Ethereum take turns rallying, it could be Bitcoin to 29K first, either 25 or 29, with ETH going from 16 to 18 and maybe even 2000. Richard Barry made it. Brick Dreams. I wonder if Grayscale is the last shoe to drop in crypto. It could be, but it could also be a takeover of Grayscale. In other words, if Grayscale and related entities have problems, I'm wondering if this is BlackRock's chance to come in and buy them. But yes, there are always risks, and that's probably one of them. Okay. Donato says, especially a very low cap, but I like it. Okay. See who else is giving me. Dead Future Society is here. Welcome. Right. Welcome. Bursix05 just followed the space. Hello. Just entered the space. Welcome to crypto. Okay. Andre is saying, here's the place to get your finance degree for free. Let's check it out. Grandpa Rock is here. Welcome. Okay. So let's go to Bitcoin. Now, this is outside the box. It's hidden pivot analysis. And I'm assuming that the drop, say, last night or over the weekend, these little corrections where people go, oh, this has gone up a lot, I'm taking my money, that's going to act as a bottom. That so many hedge funds have missed it that they're going to put in market orders. The closer we get to the end of the month, or actually, not only the closer we get to the end of the month, but the less of an intraday dip we get, especially with negative dollar news out there, the greater the chance that someone big has to start putting in market orders. And that's why I drew this hidden pivot structure this way. So if Bitcoin is above 21,400, I'm showing it can go to 22 or even 24. And this is like short-term tactical stuff. 29K is possible. In other words, this is the great reset. Okay, the Fuzz Pillow says, what does GANN show for a Bitcoin retracement? Okay, I haven't looked at the GANN for Bitcoin, but stay tuned for that. I want to do Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I want to do price prediction videos leveraging this structure. In other words, I want to do realistic price prediction videos using this as the theme of the cycle starting right now and trying to predict where cryptos are going to be for those cycles. Don't go anywhere for that. I would say that the dip in Bitcoin isn't going to come until after you get to 24,000. I think there's going to be a huge lurch to 24, and then you might see a dip. And then if people come in and buy that dip, that feeds 29. Let's take a look at Solana. Now, the Bitcoin maximalists and Bitcoin dominance, which we talked about in a prior stream, and I can bring up again, Bitcoin dominance has got to go higher, which means Bitcoin's got to go up a lot, and some altcoins might follow with Bitcoin leading. What altcoins will follow? How about Solana? How about Solana? Right? Solana has resistance at $24.39. And as you can see, Solana has been a stair step higher. It goes up, it goes sideways, it goes up, it goes sideways, meaning nobody owns Solana. Nobody. Everybody has sold out of it, and everybody has given up on Web3, which I think is a huge mistake. Huge mistake. Matter of fact, the South Korean government is telling you to go trade Web3 because they just opened up the metaverse to the public. All the stuff that everybody was all FOMOing into at the high is now on sale and underowned. Underowned is the most important thing. So if Solana takes out 24.39, the hidden pivot work hints that 33 is possible. Now, if Solana goes from 24 to 33, Where does that put Bitcoin? That could put Bitcoin at 30K. Easy. Easy. QNT. Speaking of sectors, right? Gold, water, payment processing. QNT just took out $1.40, and the hidden pivot analysis that goes from this low to that high to this low points to 280. So if QNT is above and holding above 140, 280 is next. The World Economic Forum is having its conference in Davos, and I think this idea of either sovereign countries pursuing CBDCs, which I'm against because they're kind of evil, especially in big countries like China and the US. But smaller countries may want CBDCs for different reasons. And different types of payment systems, different types of challenges to the dollar. Everyone's like, oh, QNT and XRP are dangerous because they challenge the dollar payment system. Would you rather have an alternative payment system like QNT or XRP, or would you rather have one built by the Russians and the Iranians? Think about it. There is a huge incentive for anybody who can do critical thinking to embrace alternative payment systems that are at least managed by decentralized networks. Even if XRP is centralized, let me give you a choice. Ripple Inc., the Iranians, Vladimir Putin. Pick who you want running payment processing. Okay? Somebody from Montreal is here. Welcome. And again, a reminder on Bitcoin mining stocks. Did talk about this in previous live streams, but for anybody who's new, Bitcoin mining stocks give us two important lessons. One, everyone gave up on Bitcoin. They assumed that the debt that Bitcoin miners had, the risk and the leverage that they took by borrowing money against their Bitcoin was going to blow up in their face, and that this cycle was going to end like the last cycle where Bitcoin miners got completely nuked and went out of business. Well, in this case, I don't think they went out of business, but their stocks went down so much as if they were. And if Bitcoin is going to 24 and 29, Bitcoin miners are A, not going out of business, and B, could do what the rest of the crypto space could do, which is unwind the FTX downtrade, right? Because that was a one-off Enron once every 20-year event where you had massive fraud. It was a stain for crypto, but Enron wasn't a stain for energy futures and energy trading and electricity trading. Just like FTX, even though it was bad and even though it was big, it's not big enough to stop the crypto narrative. Sam Bankman-Fried is not bigger than Satoshi. And the market is starting to trade that, which is why listening to this stream, subscribing to this channel, and hitting the like button will benefit you. It will. Because FTX and SBF are not as important as price. And you know what? Neither is Celsius, Voyager, and associated debacles. Crypto is a decentralized network. The best way to have interest rates on crypto is to have El Salvador, which has already happened, and other entities start issuing bonds denominated in Bitcoin. That can help tell you what Bitcoin interest rates are, not Voyager and Celsius, where it's banking as a face and gambling underneath. Those down trades can be unwound because all it was men behaving badly. It had nothing to do with macro, and it had nothing to do with crypto. So this is Hut 8 mining. And as of last week, it was like $1.50. And the next fib speed resistance line is at 4.6, which would unwind all the down moves since May. Now, what propels Hut mining from 150 to 460? Massively higher Bitcoin. MicroStrategy, same thing, right? Michael Saylor is on the offensive. He's out saying Bitcoin is better than gold. Okay, that's debatable. I actually think you need both. It's a must-have to have both institutions and retail. But if MicroStrategy is about to get off the mat and Michael Saylor didn't get liquidated on the way down, then he may survive and MicroStrategy could unwind everything it does. And if it does, it goes from 229 to 382. ETHE. Man, I stuck with this and it was hard to stick with this. This got a little bit messed up here, but frequently when changes of the seasons, if you go down into one season, you go up into the next, right? When seasons change, you get a range and then you get a reversal. So obviously the fourth quarter of last year was all FTX, and now it's going to be all Web3. ETHE in the equity market could go from $7.5 to $12. It was up like 10% last week. Yeah, corrections happen, dips happen, but I am absolutely pounding the table on this. ETHE has a gap over here, right, from back in May at 18. That means, you know, you're talking about ETH at 2,800 potentially. Why not? Right? Has anyone talked about NFTs? Has anyone asked what happens to Ethereum if people say, oh no, this is the new bull cycle, I better get NFTs while ETH is still cheap? Or I better do, you know, I better get the NFTs I need now. How about that? That alone can move Ethereum. Let's talk about Cardano. I am more motivated to talk about the Cardanos and the XRPs of the world now because I think those narratives took such a beating, right? Like YouTubers liked it all the way up, then it went down, then they were feeding hope to people. I brought up XRP on my Twitter and lost 12 followers. If you look at the value propositions of any big layer one, Cardano in this reset has just as good of a chance as any beat up layer one like Solana or otherwise. Okay. So when I'm looking at this, I go, hey, wait a minute. If Cardano gets above 36 cents, it can go to 45 cents. Okay. What does the market look like if Cardano is at 45 cents? Where's total crypto market cap? Where are the headlines? Where is crypto YouTube if Cardano takes off and even prints 50 cents? Because in research, you get paid for your imagination. And I think it's time to start imagining what happens if Bitcoin goes to 30K and pulls the whole rest of the market with it. And that is the PowerPoint version of the market update. All right. Aiken is here with some notorious love. Pancakes and peanut butter thinks he's late. Welcome. You're never too late. You're never too early. You're right on time. Okay. Ron is here from Amsterdam. Welcome. Steve J, what I miss? These alerts are late. Yes, we are working to get everything at a consistent time. We are working on it. Today, the crypto upcycle has begun. The new crypto upcycle based on Fibonacci mathematics has begun. The bottom is in. That's it. That's it. Okay. And now it's time to think about how to get long, how to stay long, and how to take trading profits along the way. I think if you're going to take trading profits, you do it at 24.5 Bitcoin or 29. Then let it come back down. It may come down to where we are right now. But I think anybody who gets off the train early may be missing the fact that institutions are going to the market on Tuesday. Seriously, right? Are going to the market on Tuesday. All right. Let's. One brief commercial interruption here. Hang on. All right. Now let's go to live TA. Okay, I want to go to what's moving now Okay, here's a chance to look at Polkadot when it's down. So everyone's like, when is it going to dip? Dipping now. By the way, if you can tell there's a difference in the audio, feel free to comment. We worked hard this weekend on better audio and better visuals and smoother camera work. So let us know if you can tell. Polkadot. So Polkadot reached a high of 6.5, came back to 585. Now, if we draw a hidden pivot analysis, say from this extreme right down here. So let me do this again. So this is like drawing some of the hidden pivot analysis that I showed earlier. So there's from an important low where it went green only to a recent high, and then we'll set that dip and pretend that Polkadot's not going back below that. Okay. If Polkadot takes out 616, okay, and more importantly, just say doesn't go back below 562. Upside target is 7.7. Web3, baby. Let's go to a weekly chart of Polkadot. Because I can remember on the way down, what sell in May and go away. I think with FTX, I get to the chopper was a little late. But let me ask a quick question about Polkadot. Actually, let's do it with a line. The entire rally from December of 2020 started at 5. That was the close before the rocket ship. And then Polkadot here went below that and then came straight back above it. So this is a false breakdown, I think, based on massive FUD that had nothing to do with Polkadot. And then if you just start drawing, basic trend lines, basic trend lines don't always work in crypto, but this down move is so sharp. It's so sharp, right? Now you're like, all right, Bill, I don't believe it. Okay. So let's go back to 89-minute ETH. Okay. So ETH up 2% as we're talking. They know we're coming. They know we're coming. It's the NFA world. The NFA mode for the market update has returned. Okay, one thing you can see on the Williams Awesome Oscillator, which I'm going to label down here. That the Williams Awesome Oscillator is close to 0. Okay, and it's just popping its head up through 0. Now, that is not always bullish, but it can be. It can be very bullish. And as you can see, right, everybody who was waiting for a downtick in ETH or people who took profits didn't create a down move. And again, I'm a big fan of taking profits up along the way, but I'm not a big fan of missing major trends. So this Williams Oscillator is telling you in ETH that something big could happen. So if I go, remember the chain, right? Cardano, Polkadot, Ethereum. Iron Alien wants to know if a DXY collapse will start inflation. Okay, well, it depends what you call a DXY collapse. Right? If you look at, say, a 3-month chart of the dollar index, so this is actually dollar index quarterly, you can see that the dollar is still inside of its range. Right? It's still inside of its range. The range for the dollar index has been 120 to 68. So at 68 in 2008, you had anything but depression. You had QE and the start of money printing. This up here is what I would call, it's not a very nice word, but fucktard. Meaning, there's just no other polite way to say it, that people just got so bullish the dollar because the Fed was hiking rates forever. So the dollar's still in its range. Dollar's still in its range. And it's at the high end of the range, and everybody was bullish. And if you look at the monthly chart, right, it's actually been all-out reversal in the dollar for a while. And oh, look, down at the bottom. Look at this Williams oscillator, right? The Williams Awesome Oscillator in the DXY monthly is telling you that something big is about to happen in the dollar. Now, can there be a disturbance in capital markets in March? Yeah, there can be. Could that make the dollar go down? Possibly. But we're not in March yet, right? The dip is in February into March. The rally is now, in my view. Okay. All right. So guys are saying audio sounds a little better. That's good. Okay. Let's go to Bitcoin dominance. Because this is something I'm going to be pounding the table on massively. Somebody I know who brought this up, and this dude's pretty smart. One of the things from FTX that perhaps we missed is that not all altcoins can act as money. Not all altcoins are created equal. That crypto is not exactly in all situations collateral, right? Like it was even questionable at one point as to whether or not Bitcoin or Ethereum was collateral. So in no way, shape, or form am I hating on altcoins. I'm obviously not, because I'm a huge believer in Web3 is here. Okay. Sorry, I'm just drawing hidden pivot analysis on Bitcoin dominance to try to come up with an upside target. So I think the initial target in Bitcoin dominance is 43.3. Now here's a bigger picture about Bitcoin dominance. Back in June, BTC dominance was at 48. And I think this whole thing can unwind itself. Now, you're maybe saying, well, wait a minute, Bill. If Bitcoin dominance goes back to 48, doesn't that mean Bitcoin is like much higher? Like much higher. Like, 35K, like a great reset in Bitcoin. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Like, just think about it in terms of fib retracements. All right. So if Bitcoin dominance retraces 62% of this, what I would call the Celsius FTX down trade, which meant when everybody was afraid Bitcoin was going to get liquidated as collateral, Bitcoin dominance could go to 44.8. Like Bitcoin dominance could still be in a massive downtrend. I'm not arguing that. But in the short term, you could get a rally in Bitcoin dominance 48.8%. Okay. So moving the mic closer to my mouth. Okay. We'll try that. And we will work on reducing the gain, and we appreciate the audio tips. Okay. Wrong again. Alt up, BTC dominance down. Correct. Okay. Bitcoin dominance can go down. Bitcoin dominance probably will go down over time. The question is, can the negativity about Bitcoin get unwound in the short term violently? The answer there is yes. Pancakes and Peanut Butter says, is Jay Powell ready to unbreak the world? Let's talk about that. So Jay Powell is going to have a tough time admitting that AI is here and layoffs have begun. I think the day that he backs off, he's probably going to use AI to do so, because that will probably be after the massive Google layoff. Because I think there is going to be a big layoff inside Silicon Valley. In other words, Meta may have to be in the beginning and other big companies may have to follow. All right. Now, as unfortunate as this is, and I brought this up multiple times, everything in markets depends on what the Fed does. So I did do a little bit of work for Block Desk News, okay? And it's about macro investing and the crypto market. So we're going to do a little bit of education, little educational drift here. So question 1 says, please explain your own words what is macro investing and how it differs from other forms of investing. Macro investing involves putting pieces together. Investment decision gets made on a mix of viewpoints on central bank policy decisions, the wisdom of government policies, the outlook for commodities, and whether or not stock markets will rise or fall. So let's go back. Let's start at the end and go to the beginning. Stocks. Stocks may have one more round of indigestion, but I suspect people are so bearish after what happened last year. It takes one more bearish event for stocks to trigger a bottom that gives you a 5-month uptrade. Not a lot of people talking about that. The outlook for commodities. Gold and silver are the only commodities that have not mooned. And oil might do better in the fall if there's a geopolitical event. The wisdom of government policies. Wisdom and government policies in the same sentence don't seem to make much sense. If now is not the time to believe in crypto, when is the time to believe in crypto? Central bank policy decisions. The Fed cannot keep interest rates above 4% and expect the U.S. government to be able to pay the interest on the debt. So this whole, like, the Fed is keeping rates at 4 or 5% higher for longer is bunk. If they had any sense, they would go to token tightening moves of 25 basis points, which the market would read as them backing off. Okay. Can you explain the role of macro indicators and macro investing strategies? All macro investing starts with a view on what the Federal Reserve will or will not do. There are other indicators such as economic and inflation data, but the most significant macro data points may be the Dow Jones, the S&P, and is saying that the economy follows the stock market and not the other way around. This is called reflexivity. Now, I know we talked about this already, but here's an idea. What happens if there's a rally in risk assets? What if the worst risk assets have a good couple of months? In other words, there's probably going to be a legacy problem in the fall based on seasonal work. But what happens if the worst assets in the world, which I would argue is legacy and possibly junk bonds, maybe, they have a good 3 to 4 months? What does that mean for crypto, which is so artificially depressed and still drowning in FUD? Speaking of that, how do you analyze and identify opportunities for the cryptocurrency market? Crypto always moves faster than any other market. This is because it's not controlled by central banks. So if there's going to be macro shifts, crypto will start moving first. It's already happening. Okay. So if there's a sudden trend reversal in crypto, go with that move. Go with that move. Okay. Let's take one brief look at DeMark. Okay. So DeMark in Ethereum. 13 top, 9 top on a 90-minute chart. One downtick to support at 1519, which immediately gets bought and it resumes. DeMark work is great, whether it works or it doesn't work. Okay, looking at Ethereum on a daily chart. We talked about this, right? You get a pause on a 9 back on January 9th. And then I was talking about another 13 up candles. We've got 7 up candles so far. You could have 6 more big up days in Ethereum. Notice how this whole FTX debacle has been unwound, or most of it has, at least the one from November. Bitcoin, same thing, except in Bitcoin, I actually think there's more probability that if they take out this DeMark resistance point, this was the high uptick from September. If they take this out, you're going to get a huge surge of buying, probably followed by a correction back to 22,000. Said differently, you may never see 20 again. How insane is that? Who on YouTube is saying you'll never see 20 again? 20K. You had all this time to buy it under 20K, and now everyone's like, I'll buy it at 20K, and you'll never see it again. Because it gaps to 25, and the return move is to 22. The return move is 22. Okay, let's look at one last chart. Okay, so this is ETHBTC. I'm just going to pull it up on the fly here and take a look at it. Okay, Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Some very powerful lessons here on a daily chart. One, this is probably a diamond formation. It's a little outside the box, maybe. But I like outside the box, particularly when it comes to diamonds. Okay. Now, when you have a diamond, it's really a sick chart, actually. It's really sick. So let's wrap this up based on what I just told everybody. If Bitcoin can go to 29K, ETH versus Bitcoin looks like it's making a diamond. And when you break out of a diamond formation, if it's an accurate, legitimate breakout, you get something like this. So if Bitcoin goes to 24 to 29, the ignition that could happen in ETH after Bitcoin leads. So if you could get a monster move in Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin could chill out for 2 months while ETH rampages based on this chart. So people are telling you, oh, it's time to get out. This is a BS rally. You just let them think that. You stay tuned with the market update, because the next cycle is on now. Water, gold, Ethereum, Polkadot. Follow big boy Bitcoin. This is going to happen. This is Bill Noble. I will see you next time